Hello, and thank you for joining our webinar. My name is Brandy Britton. I'm a District President for OfficeTeam. As I'm sure you are aware, trends like mobility, social media, and globalization are changing the way we do business. According to the OfficeTeam of the according to the Office of the Future research from OfficeTeam and International Association of Administrative Professionals, IAAP for short, the administrative profession is also changing as a result of these shifts in the workplace as well as technology. Today, as a part of Administrative Professionals Week, we thought it would be helpful to talk to you about that research, what we can learn from it, and what it means for you as an administrative professional. In particular, we'll look at how you can adapt to new ways of working and gain skill sets that can boost your professional image as well as marketability. I look forward to sharing some insights from our research and hope you find them valuable. Before we get started, let's review a few housekeeping items. First, the webinar recording. We are recording today's session. If you miss a part of the presentation or want to share it with others, you'll receive an email from us in a few days after this live event with a link to the replay. Your webinar player. Your webinar console features several widgets across the bottom of your screen. This will help enhance today's discussion. You can scroll over each icon for a description of what it does. Submitting questions. We will have a Q&A portion at the end of today's webinar. You can enter your questions at any time throughout the webinar in the Q&A box on the left-hand side of your webinar console. We'll answer as many questions as we can. Recertification credit. As a reminder, this webinar is eligible for one CAP recertification point through IAAP for those who attend this webinar in its entirety. A few days after this event, attendees who participate in the full live webinar will receive a certificate that can be used for verification purposes. A copy of the slides. You will be able to access a copy of today's slides by clicking on the resource list icon on the console toolbar at the bottom of your screen. It is the green icon with a piece of paper on it. For technical support, click the yellow icon with a question mark on your console toolbar if you need any technical assistance during the live session today. The Twitter hashtag. We will be live tweeting today's event using the hashtag AdminsRock. Feel free to tweet with us. You can also follow our tweets at the OfficeTeam handle. All right, let's go ahead and get started. As I mentioned, I'm Brandy Britton, a District President for OfficeTeam. OfficeTeam is the world's leading staffing service specializing in temporary placement of highly skilled office and administrative support professionals. Feel free to read my full bio by clicking on the blue speaker bio icon on your console toolbar at the bottom of your screen. Today's workplace is a far cry from what your parents experienced or even what you might have experienced in the past. As you know, things are changing at lightning speed. Digital innovations, such as the widespread adoption of mobile devices in the workplace, have enabled anytime, anywhere connectivity. Enterprises have also established a global presence, with teams collaborating closely across far corners of the world. Social media has opened up new channels of marketing opportunities for companies and enabled interactions amongst almost everyone. This, in turn, has led to cultural shifts in the workplace, such as a more flexible work schedule and varied vacation policies. Some companies have even adopted virtual office models. As an administrative professional, you are at the hub of your organization and undoubtedly are well aware of how your company is adapting to these innovative ways of doing business. In the midst of this rapid-fire change, it's a good idea to step back and take a deeper look at your own role and responsibilities to determine how you can be more effective at your job. You can ride the big waves of change by honing your current skills and adding new ones to your repertoire. So here's what we're going to cover today. We'll start by discussing how administrative job titles and descriptions are changing. Then we'll talk about top skills and attributes that you need. I'll provide advice on how tapping into your hidden talents can help you show initiative and add value at work. I'll highlight how to work well with others, including those in other departments. And before we get into the Q&A, we'll review some ways you can keep up with emerging trends. So let's jump right in. In the past, people have held certain misconceptions about administrative professionals. They may have downplayed their abilities or the importance of the things they do on a daily basis. Some examples you might hear, they're just secretaries, or those are the individuals who want just a job, not a career, or all they do is answer the phone, right? Today's administrative professionals no longer just follow boss's orders, sit at a desk, type memos, make coffee, get the dry cleaning, like sometimes they've been portrayed in TV shows and movies. Administrative professionals are strategic contributors and frequently manage mission-critical projects for their supervisors, their teams, as well as the entire organization. So, don't just be content to make the coffee. Wake up and smell the coffee. You're more valued by executives and team members than you might think. In fact, you're indispensable. And your job positions you to become even better at what you already do very, very well. It'll allow you to uncover hidden talents, put them to use, and even explore new career paths. Today's administrative professionals are truly jacks and jills of all trades and masters of everything. As administrative workers, you bring a diverse array of abilities, talents, skills into play every single day. Along with a positive, can-do attitude, you make things happen for your organization, your department, or your manager. Busy executives are relying more and more on their administrative staff, and they're putting their trust in them. According to the Office of the Future research by OfficeTeam and the IAAP, I mentioned earlier, 60% of senior managers feel that administrative professionals are more valued today than they were 10 years ago. And 85% of administrative professionals said they feel empowered to take on new projects at their organization. We all know that working hard greatly improves your chances of being promoted, but what else can you do to give yourself a career advantage in today's dynamic business environment? As the workplace evolves, your responsibilities will too. Don't be surprised if you're asked to jump into projects that are outside of your job description or outside of the traditional job description. Of the more than 2,000 administrative professionals we surveyed, 87% said they often help with tasks or projects outside of their job descriptions. As an administrative professional today, be prepared to wear many hats and switch them up frequently. Could be in the same hour, could be in the same day. You may be asked to do things you've never done before. At first, you may think you don't have the skills to tackle these tasks, but you'll probably end up surprising yourself. Become resourceful and start to draw deeply from your inner reservoir of secret talents. You will likely end up enjoying these out-of-the-ordinary tasks and learn a lot about yourself in the process. Here are a few examples of unusual requests survey respondents said they received. Some are pretty far-fetched. They've had to adopt a wide variety of roles, from air traffic controller to playwright to snake handler. My favorite one is tech support expert. Find the missing toolbar at the bottom of someone's laptop screen. Or the recreational director. Organize a hula hoop competition for executive staff. Pet sitter. Is it taking care of the office's pet snails, or is it the office fish? Or in some cases, I've even been in offices where the administrative professional helps take the executive's dog for a walk that's visiting for the day. Even though these are pretty extreme examples, and you shouldn't necessarily be expected to handle them all, I think you get the point. Flexibility, being fast on your feet, are great assets for administrative professionals. It's a wonderful opportunity to try something new and different, and you'll have some pretty wild stories to tell friends and family over the Thanksgiving dinner. According to our research, 41% of administrative professionals feel their job description is inaccurate because their job duties have evolved considerably. Not too surprisingly, 93% also said they think it's important to have a job title that accurately reflects their roles and responsibilities. Our study revealed some emerging job titles that show the growing influence of support staff at work, including Chief Executive Administrator, Administrative Services Manager, Director of Administration, Administrative Chief of Staff. And there's even the unconventional and intriguing title called Director of First Impressions, which acknowledges the importance of front desk employees who are often the first to engage with customers and visitors. As part of our research, we identified 5 skill sets that are key to administrative professional success. In our survey, 39% of managers felt that time management is the most highly desirable skill. 30% of both administrative workers and senior managers agree that organizational skills are very important. On the other hand, administrative professionals tend to feel that software and technology skills are more important than do some managers. In any case, if you broaden and deepen your knowledge and expertise in all of these areas, you are bound to be more effective and more marketable. To increase your confidence in handling any situation that might arise, assess your strengths, assess your weaknesses in each area, and think about how you can expand and refine your capabilities. So, for example, organization and prioritization are key. So, if you have 5 things that you need to do at once, constantly be challenging yourself to determine, okay, what should I do first? What should I do second? You might need to book travel, help someone who can't, their computer won't turn on, and answer the phone. What do you do first, second, and third, and which ones can you do all at the same time? There are multiple attributes that make for a successful administrative professional, such as diplomacy, tact, the ability to take initiative, and professionalism. But across the board, both administrative professionals and supervisors agree that flexibility and adaptability are at the top of that list, followed by a positive attitude. Flexibility and adaptability are close in meaning, but they are not identical. Adaptability means you can get on board with long-term changes. Flexible means you don't resist short-term changes. For example, you might adapt to the introduction of a new business model for your company and be flexible enough to work late next Tuesday. If you are both, you can respond to the ever-changing needs of your organization and help introduce new processes and technologies that will improve how your entire team functions. And as we've already seen, you may be asked to do some pretty unusual tasks that require you to be flexible enough to step up your knowledge, embrace innovation, and boldly step into unfamiliar grounds. Maintaining a positive attitude is also critical. Negativity is a drain on everyone's energy, so do not engage into it. Help create an environment that is positive. A happy face is a hard face to not say hello to. Instead, strive to act at all times and communicate in positive and productive ways. With this winning combination and the right skills, you will be a rock star in everyone's eyes. Another example I might give on positive attitude is clinging to the past. So, for example, managers don't want to hear, well, that's not the way we've always done it. Managers like to hear, okay, let's try that. Let's see how that works. So that would be another example of having a positive attitude. Every now and then, we all need to take a step back for some self-assessment. Ask yourself, are there areas where I could take my current skills to the next level? Can you take your skills to the next level and gain new ones? And do you have untapped talents? You may discover them on the job as you take on new challenges. That's one of the great things about being an administrative professional. Our research has shown that administrative professionals are eager to take on non-traditional roles and projects. 50% of those we polled said they have skills that are not being tapped at work. At the same time, many administrative professionals are involved in projects that go far beyond the mundane clerical tasks. 78% are organizing events, ranging from office celebrations to corporate meetings to team building activities. We've even seen examples where administrative professionals are scheduling office-wide baseball games. They're planning golf tournaments for their organization. 66% are helping control costs by identifying costly inefficiencies, negotiating with vendors, and streamlining procedures. As companies continue to watch the bottom line, they may turn to support staff for more assistance in these areas. Two great examples that I can think of in this area is a lot of times administrative professionals order the food for a department or company. Can you negotiate a better rate? Can you eliminate the delivery fee? Or if they are responsible for hotel and travel arrangements, can they get a better rate at the hotel? A lot of times, administrative professionals can get a reduction in rate for their executive that they're planning to travel for just by asking. In addition, 49% have been asked to assist with technology training and support. Administrative personnel are often early adopters of new hardware as well as new software. They frequently train others on technology and field common technical questions and become the go-to person in the office for technical issues. Administrative professionals are increasingly engaged in the exciting area of social media. About 3 in 5, so 58% of senior managers, said administrative staff have assisted in updating their company's profile information or images on social media. 45% noted that support personnel have monitored user comments or feedback on these sites as well. When it comes to corporate social responsibility, many administrative professionals have had a role in coordinating volunteer activities. Fundraising for nonprofits and environmental or green initiatives are very important to companies as well as the individuals that work for them. And let's not forget that administrative staff are also lending a hand when it comes to hiring. Most managers, so about 88%, stated they value their assistant's opinion about the job candidates they interview. Nearly half, 49%, of administrative professionals said they've been asked to provide feedback on job applicants based on their interactions, whether it be in the lobby or over the phone. And 44% have interviewed candidates themselves. Some other ways that you might see administrative staff helping out with a hiring process is calling and welcoming a new hire to the team, giving tours of the intranet site the company might have, or even the actual tour of the office on their first day. Obviously, you have a lot of talents to offer already, or you wouldn't be where you are. Let's take a look at some foundational skills that can help you excel at your job and get noticed even more. These are skills that will not only serve you well now, but they will also lie the foundation for your career advancement. As part of your career strategy, you'll want to hone some areas that need improvement and expand into new ones as well. Here's how you can improve in a few of the top administrative skills we discussed earlier and be the superstar that you're meant to be. Number 1, be a better listener. 2, write clearly and effectively. Expand your technical knowledge. Sharpen your presentation skills. Get organized and stay organized. Manage your time. Stay in the know. And last but not least, work well with others. I'll go over some tips in each of these areas. All right, active listening is important no matter what position you hold in a company. It's especially important for you because you may interact and hear from just about anyone, whether it's from colleagues to customers to executives at other organizations. So here are a few tips to help you improve your listening skills. First and foremost, what you really need to do is be present. Do not think about other things or get distracted. Don't be looking at your phone. Don't be thinking about what you need to do in an hour or 5 minutes. Try to stay present. Next, stay focused on what's being said rather than thinking about what you're going to say next. Offer verbal and nonverbal feedback. For example, say, "I understand," or occasionally nod your head. Ask for clarification if you need it, or repeat back what you heard. My favorite line is, "Let me recap my understanding." By practicing good listening skills, you'll minimize miscommunication and be able to execute on your supervisors' and colleagues' requests and always seem very engaged. All right. There's no doubt you probably do a lot of writing in your administrative role. Writing doesn't always come easy or naturally to everyone. Remember, you don't necessarily have to be poetic when you compose a business email, but you do need to make sure you have a good grasp of basic grammar and spelling. Above all, keep your written communication simple and to the point. Before you start writing, think about what you want to say and in what order, and do not forget to proofread and proofread again. Then keep in mind, sometimes it's better to have communication face-to-face or on the phone. A great example might be, did you receive 10 emails from somebody over the last 4 hours? That person might be a great person to call and walk through each of those 10 emails all in a 5-minute phone call rather than having 10 email responses. Another item is we all like to abbreviate, but remember who your audience is. Is this a colleague that you already have some experience with? Then maybe that's appropriate to abbreviate. But is it an executive or an external client? Then it wouldn't be appropriate to abbreviate. For a long time, I've always questioned whether or not and when I should use emoticons. So I usually wait until I've received an emoticon from somebody before I will use an emoticon with that individual. Better safe than sorry. Technical skills are more critical in the workplace than ever before, and there's always more to learn, it seems like on a daily basis. Executives expect administrative professionals to be proficient in Microsoft Word, Excel, and Outlook, but these aren't the only applications you should be familiar with today. Support staff are often asked to conquer more than just spreadsheets or memos. You may be asked to run virtual meetings in Skype or other software. You might have to create a PowerPoint presentation for executives or assist with accounting. You might have to help with a expense report software program, payroll or HR applications for certain positions. If you enjoy social media and mobile apps, that's even better. Become a technical whiz by taking additional classes or earning certifications like the Microsoft Office Specialist designation. Also, it never hurts to make friends with your IT support staff. You'll undoubtedly pick up some really valuable pointers from them that you can share with your team when they really need help. If you gain a higher degree of technical proficiency, you'll become the go-to person when gnarly computer issues slow down the boss or slow down the team, and it's one of the best ways to earn superhero points. My favorite person in the office is the person who helps me fix my computer, and I adore them the most. All right. In your role as an administrative professional, you may be expected to present to an internal group or an external group. If you have some anxiety around public speaking, don't sweat it. There are ways to keep the butterflies in your stomach from fluttering. First, breathe and remain calm. Remind yourself that you are not delivering the State of the Union speech to millions. Simply focus on your topic and remember that everyone is eager to receive the information that you are sharing. Preparation is critical. Print out speaker's notes from your PowerPoint presentation or create an outline that you can easily follow. Make sure you're well organized so you don't lose track of where you are. Practice ahead of time. Practice, practice, practice. Feel free to ask a friend or colleague to be your audience for trial runs and get constructive feedback, not only about the content, but also about your voice quality, speed, pace, eye contact, and body language. Master PowerPoint and use appropriate photos, graphics, and charts to illustrate your points. These can be very, very engaging and a great way to get your audience engaged into what you're saying. Make sure your presentation is easy on the eyes. Less is more when it comes to text on the slides. You would rather them listen to you than be reading your slides. Be mindful of everyone's schedule by making sure that your presentations start and end on time. You don't want people feeling anxious because your meeting is running over. Also, it's a good idea to leave a few minutes at the end for questions and answer session. All right, keeping ahead of the game. So, as an administrative professional, you may be supporting one executive, multiple managers, or an entire department or team. You could be supporting someone that you see every day or someone that you've never met in person. Regardless of how many people you work with, you're the one everyone depends on to keep things organized. Successful administrative professionals are proactive. They don't wait for their bosses to remind them to do something or to provide a status report. They think ahead and anticipate everyone's needs. For example, to show your boss that you're responsible and on top of things, schedule a weekly status meeting to review your projects and discuss new ones. Or send them an email in the middle of the week with a status update. Or send them an email with something that you felt needed to be done and that you've accomplished it. Those are the types of things that executives and managers really love to see. If issues arise in the course of completing a project, manage expectations early and often. Let your boss know about these issues ahead of time so that adjustments can be made or change, of course, can be considered. But don't forget to also suggest solutions as well as a new timeline. When it comes to workplace organization, administrative workers are usually pros. But here are a few good reminders. Even in today's so-called paperless office, there is paper everywhere. Don't touch the same piece of paper more than once without filing it, recycling it, or tossing it, or passing it on to the next person. Keep only the materials you need for your current project on your desk. Should have an inbox right outside your cubicle or office where colleagues can place documents that do not need immediate attention. And at the end of each day, clear any extra papers from your desk and prepare your to-do list for the following day. It's really important to have a clean desk when you walk in the next day. So how you wrap up your day is very critical. And remember that ultimately you should use an organizational system that suits your style. That may mean having color-coded containers or a tickler file system at your desk or a special way that you like to manage emails. A couple of other ways to manage your day and get organized in Outlook is delayed send emails. Those are a terrific way. Flagging emails, dragging and dropping emails into your Outlook calendar. But at the end of the day, the number one thing that we see successful administrative professionals who are organized do is they walk into a desk that is ready to work. Managing your time. So we've talked about organizing projects at your desk, but how about organizing your time? We mentioned earlier that senior managers think time management is one of the most crucial skills an administrative professional can possess. You're probably pretty darn good at it already, but just like about everyone else, you wish the day were a bit longer so you could squeeze more work in. After all, you're busy spinning a lot of plates every single day. So what are some ways you can get everything done in a timely manner? Start by setting priorities. Think about how your manager would prioritize the tasks that you have. What projects have the biggest impact on the team, your manager, or the organization as a whole, and move those to the top of the list. Use productivity apps or tools that work best for you. Sometimes simpler is better. A lot of people, like I mentioned, like Outlook, the Outlook calendar, while others prefer calendar apps on their smartphones. It's up to you. Just make sure your productivity tools do not run you and eat into your time. Ask yourself if you function best in the morning or afternoon. You want to tackle the most complex and challenging tasks when your energy is at its highest level. Let's face it, not all of your duties are exciting or glamorous. So make sure you don't procrastinate because you're not in the mood to do something. Just step up to the plate and go for it. As long as the task is within reason, you have the availability to help. Just do it. Avoid time wasters. Some time wasters might be excessive internet surfing or personal social media time, or sometimes it's the person who corners you at the coffee machine to tell you about their amazing vacation or what happened on last night's reality show. Anything that might take you out of your flow, you want to avoid. Finally, make sure you make time for yourself. Are you taking your breaks? Are you taking your lunch break? Oftentimes, we want to work at our desk and be more productive, we think. But that 30 minutes or that hour where we get a quick walk, a good meal, can make you feel more refreshed and ultimately get more done. As we've discussed, business trends and technology innovations are moving at such an astonishing pace that it can be quite the challenge to keep up. You can start by staying on top of how your own company is evolving and what other organizations in the same sector are doing. So take a little time every few weeks to look over your company's press releases, blogs, social media posts, Go even a step further by periodically checking LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook to find out what's happening in your industry. Network with other professionals through industry groups, or become active on networking and social media sites like LinkedIn. You might even consider joining professional organizations and attend conferences and seminars to expand your knowledge and make new connections. It also doesn't hurt to read administrative publications and websites. There are numerous magazines and newsletters out there that feature career advice and resources specific to administrative professionals. The bottom line is always be learning to make yourself better. Building professional relationships is also critical to your success as an administrative professional and advancing your career. Every day, you're in contact with leaders within your organization or, frankly, future leaders within your organization. So you are in a great position to increase your visibility and boost your reputation. Start by helping your own team meet deadlines and bring projects to completion successfully. They will be an advocate for you as you grow your career. You can also show that you're a team player by pitching in or volunteering for projects outside of your usual responsibilities. Keep in mind it's critical to have completed your current responsibilities before you're volunteering for responsibilities outside your day-to-day. Administrative professionals frequently need to collaborate with other departments. In fact, we asked administrative workers which departments they collaborate with at least once per week. Most said IT, so about 79%, followed by accounting and finance, close second at 76%, and then third, human resources at 66%. Building lasting relationships with team members in departments other than your own can also be helpful when you run into problems or need a favor. Or frankly, having these relationships help make your job more enjoyable, and there's a lot more gratification having these connections. So for example, if you have a good working relationship with the IT team, you may find that your printer somehow gets fixed faster than everyone else's. If you lend a hand to someone, you'll probably find they're more willing to help you if the need arises. You can foster these relationships by regularly checking in with these contacts to see what are they working on, inviting them to lunch or coffee, or it's the small things that count. Give them a phone call just to say hello, or if they get promoted, sending them a note card saying congratulations, whether it's via email or mail. Then don't forget to mix and mingle with individuals at company social events. Oftentimes, you may want to stay with your current group, but it doesn't hurt and can be very beneficial to introduce yourself to those outside of your normal work group. Some of the best connections are made when everyone is relaxed and having a good time. Here are some additional tips when you're collaborating with other departments. Meet frequently with team members and be sure to ask less vocal colleagues for their opinions so everyone has a chance to chime in. You'd be surprised some of the best ideas come from the individuals who don't vocalize them all the time. Keep in mind that not everyone is naturally outgoing or comfortable contributing in a group setting or in the same way. It's always a good idea convening at the outset of a project or during critical phases. This will help prevent any miscommunications that can lead to lost time, resources, and money. Provide others with insight into processes to help them understand the time or resources needed for various cross-department initiatives. Sharing your knowledge can be very helpful. Try to understand the pressures your colleagues may be facing in their own jobs. This will help you identify their priorities and determine how can you help them. And then peacefully resolve conflicts. Avoiding confrontation altogether doesn't address the root of a problem or help foster collaboration. Whenever there's a conflict, you want to listen as much as you talk during conversations. So I'd like to start wrapping up by reinforcing that it is a fantastic time to be an administrative professional. And let's face it, if you didn't love certain aspects of your job, you would not be doing it. Here are what some administrative professionals have said when we ask what they love about their job. I make my boss look good. I'm continually faced with new challenges. I receive recognition for a job well done. And my favorite is, I like that I'm considered the go-to person for my company. As administrative professionals, you have a lot of pride in what you do, and with good reason. You are integral to the success of key executives, your teams, the company overall, and you're highly respected by the people who interact with them on a daily basis. Most of all, since all of you like challenges and a lot of variety, you'll find that there's definitely never a dull moment. So I've provided you with a lot of information over a short amount of time. I hope you find these tips helpful as you look to advance your career. If you are interested in reading more about the research we discussed today, please visit our Office of the Future page, which is at officeteam.com/OOTF. And you can also check out our related guides, infographics, and videos there. So at this point, I think it's time to start looking at some of the questions that have come in. So you can continue to submit in the Q&A box on the left-hand side of your webinar console. And although today I might not be able to address all of the questions, I will do my very best to address as many as I can. Okay, so the first question, can you please offer tips on networking with peers and networking in general? Yes. So it is the simplest thing on networking. It can be as small as saying hello, or if there's a new hire, are you introducing yourself to the new person? For example, when I see a new hire or somebody I don't recognize, I just say, my name is Brandy Britton. I'm the district president for OfficeTeam. You know, who are you? Just as simple as that. Or if you run into somebody in the kitchen or the water cooler room, break room, it doesn't hurt to say hello. You can also network by joining groups and organizations or volunteering to create fun activities for your office or for your department. It's a great way to get to know people. And your bosses love it even more when you create activities for the company that don't cost anything. So you can have cover both ends there. All right, next question is, will a replay link be provided? Yes, there will be. So you will have, you will get an email with a link to this event, and you will have access to it. So you should receive that link within the next couple of days. Next question, what are a few good ways to get noticed in interviews? So number one is come prepared for your interviews. Do you bring a copy of your resume? Look professional, look sharp, have a good handshake, make good eye contact. Those are all great ways to get noticed in interviews. And then last but not least on that same topic is after an interview, it's always a good idea to follow up with a thank you email for taking the time to meet. And if you can recap something in that email that you learned in the interview, that's always a good idea. But you want to keep it brief and concise and very, very importantly, is make sure you've proofread it and even maybe read it out loud to yourself or have somebody else proofread it for you. Because what you don't want is for you not to get the job because you had a typo in your follow-up thank you email. Okay, so let's see. This one's a little bit longer. It does seem like administrative professionals are being given additional tasks. I know this is a common issue, but what if the company is clearly not paying the employee enough, but I expect them to complete these out-of-the-box tasks? So that is a tough one. So one is when you get exposure to additional tasks, at the end of the day, that is beneficial to you because you're going to learn something new and you're going to become more marketable. Those are things you can add to your resume. Those are things that you can add to your LinkedIn profile. And have you asked your boss for more money? Is your pay competitive? Have you looked into the market about what the pay is for that particular position? Companies do have salary ranges. However, sometimes they may pay below that, and that may be a good time for you to provide data on salaries about what your role should pay. And if you're not valued financially at work and you've looked and done the research for your role and you are being underpaid, it may mean it's time for you to look at other opportunities or accept that you're gaining additional skills that make you better in the long run. Okay, next question. Oh, very nice. What a great presentation. Thank you. So the question is, any advice on how to attain an administrative job for somebody who's entry level? This is a fantastic time to be entry level. We see a significant amount of job opportunities for entry-level professionals. So a couple of things that I would recommend is, number one, looking for entry-level jobs online. Number two, consider temporary staffing firms like OfficeTeam that specialize in administrative staffing. Be flexible on the job duties. Be flexible on the type of company. And the joy of temporary work is you get to try out a lot of job duties and you get to try out a lot of different types of companies. So try being a temporary for 6 to 9 months to get a feel for what's out there. That same time, you're learning a whole bunch of new softwares. You're learning new skills, and you're meeting new contacts. And those are great ways to get into an administrative job for an entry-level professional. Next question is, in a competitive market, what can you do in order to stand out on your resume? The number one thing that I would suggest on a resume is demonstrating your ROI, so your return on investment. If you were an administrative assistant in your last role or an executive assistant, how did you save the company time or money? My favorite example that I like to demonstrate about my assistant is when she books travel for me. So if a hotel room, for example, is going for $300 a night, and let's say I spend the night in a hotel 12 times in a year, that would be $3,600, I hope, that I would spend in travel a year. Can my assistant negotiate with the hotel every time to $200 a night rather than $300? Again, let's say I'm staying in that hotel 12 times in the year. That would be $2,400. So that's saving the company $1,200 a year. That's the type of ROI that I would put on a resume to help myself stand out from a paper perspective. Help save the company $1,200 in reducing hotel expenses. Did your exceptional customer service help retain a client that might have been upset? Those are things that I would highlight on a resume to help stand out. Then I would also just make sure that the quality of the resume is good. No typos, no spelling errors, because you are an administrative professional and there's lots of written communication involved in that role. Make sure that your resume is a reflection of your good writing skills. Okay, next question is, how important are professional references in applying for administrative roles? Well, they're very important. Professional references, whether it's administrative positions or any other type of position, are important. So it's critical that you maintain relationships with your former bosses or other people that you've done work for. It isn't always your direct supervisor that's going to provide the reference. A lot of companies want a 360-degree reference, so they may want a reference from your prior supervisor, but they want one from your peer. How were you to collaborate with? How were you to get along with? And if you're in the type of role where you manage individuals, they may want to know what type of manager you were as well. So it's a great idea to keep your professional references, phone numbers, and contact information, and stay in touch with them from time to time so that you can reach out to them 1 year later, 5 years later, maybe even 10 years later. Next question. I'm working for a startup company. I'm the executive assistant and have been told by the boss that I'm in charge. Other than the basics discussed here, what can I be doing to make the CEO's life easier? Oh, awesome question. Well, certainly ask your CEO what you can do to make his or her life easier. But it's getting familiar with the CEO's patterns and preempting something that they might need. So an example might be if you know that they work in the office every Friday and they always order lunch in from a particular restaurant, getting familiar with what do they order and not having to ask them to order something and just already having that ready for them. Or it might be doing the little things that are nice. So for example, if they've got 20 voicemails, is it easier for them to listen to those voicemails, or would it be easier for you to proactively listen to those voicemails and type them up in an email so that they can review those while traveling? At the end of the day, making your CEO's life easier is about anticipating the things that they need and want before they know they need them. Okay, so next question is it okay to have a 2-page executive assistant resume? And should you offer professional references with your application or wait until you're asked? In an ideal world, you have a 1-page resume, although many people are highly experienced and may need 2 pages. At maximum, it's 2 pages, but I would only have a 2-page resume if I have more than 10 years of experience. As far as offering professional references, that I would leave. It's assumed now that you're going to be able to provide those references, so wait until asked. Or if you're so inclined, you can attach them on a separate page when submitting your resume so that they know that they're already there. But a lot of times it's just fine to provide those when asked. Okay, do you have any advice for someone who is looking for an administrative job even though the individual has majored in a different field? Absolutely. So it comes back to the same comments around entry-level roles. So try temporary staffing firms such as OfficeTeam that specialize in an administrative field. A lot of times OfficeTeam or recruiters help you get a job without a resume, and they help you get the job based on your personality or the skills you do bring to the table, and then that allows you to get your foot in the door and get some administrative experience so that you can beef up your resume down the road. Next question is, how do you list contract work on a resume? So typically, as a recruiter myself, and what we see clients like the best is you summarize that. So you might have, instead of the company name, you might have contract work through OfficeTeam or through varied staffing firms. And then in the job description area or your accomplishments area, that's where you'll list what types of work that you performed and what your accomplishments were. Again, how you help your resume stand out is by covering your ROIs, your return on investment. What did you help the company or your department or your manager achieve, or what clients did you help save based on the work that you did? And I often hear a lot of administrative professionals say, well, I don't know what I did. Those individuals should ask their manager for help in that area, because you would be surprised how much ROI or return on investment that administrative professionals do on a daily basis. They just don't realize it at the time that they're doing it. Okay. I think I got time for one more question, and then we will wrap it up. So how to handle the question, why you left your last position when the work environment was not good. I think at the end of the day, honesty is the best policy, and because it's too hard to come up with a fluff answer. It doesn't look genuine, and people want genuine people to work for them. So I think it's fair to say I left my last position because the work environment was not conducive to me and my long-term goals. You don't have to dig into details. If they ask you, answer truthfully, but also be positive about it as well. So if it was a tough environment, you might explain why was it a tough environment and what you would have done differently, or what you would have what you would have thought the solution could have been to that environment, and also suggest that you tried to resolve those issues with your prior employer before making the difficult decision to resign. Okay, so that is all we have time for today. I very much appreciate everybody participating in today's webinar. And again, happy Administrative Professionals Week. Have a terrific week, everyone. Thank you so very much.